Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Rose to the Ceilings podcast. Today, we're joined by a special guest, Nihan, who you might have saw her on our page already. We interviewed her at the National Women's Show, and now we're back for another round. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, hello. My name is Nihan Sevinc. I am a stress management, stress relief coach, consultant, and a facilitator. I connect people with what's true for them, quieting down the mind chatter so they can connect with their body, know what's true for them, and really create what they came here to create. Because how many of us know that something different is possible in the world right now? And how many of us burn out, maybe go into hopelessness, or perhaps an overdrive when we are showing up and accomplishing things? So I'm here for the change makers, the seekers, the dreamers.
Just to get us started, when we talk about the problem of it, why do you think we're seeing so many people be burnt out now and be anxious and be stressed?
I love this question. For me, in my personal journey, it was about 10 years ago where I hit that point of my relentless energy suddenly wasn't there anymore and my body was having symptoms, and I was only 29. So that came as a shock to me. I joke, I tell people I burnt out before burning out was popular or common. So when I had the diagnosis of autoimmune, whatever, I called my parents and my friends, and everyone said, that's a made up diagnosis. It doesn't exist. So I spent the last 10 years looking at why do we burn out? It's actually so common. And what I'm observing right now in the world is because change is required. Our bodies are made of earth, but we have been so separated from the earth. In my case, I was living in my mind. I was working at the University of British Columbia. I'm on campus today. And the motto of UBC at the time was a place of mind. And it was quite literal because I was using my body as a tool to carry my head from meeting to meeting. And I really wasn't paying attention to my body. So that's one of the reasons. And the earth is asking for our attention and our bodies are asking for our attention. Most of the answers we're seeking are here. And the second one is when a change is required on a planet, of course, there's this wave of people's energies being drained. So burnout for me really is when I have put my energy into something that doesn't regenerate more energy for me, into something that doesn't replenish me or the planet. I have overgiven to a structure that is not designed to support more life on planet. It could be a workspace, it could be a project, it could be a relationship. And it's not about making that relationship, workspace, or the project wrong. It's more about looking at what needs to change here for this project to be more life-giving, to be more replenishing. Am I the right person for this? Is there something else? Can we add more people? Can we bring in more funding? Are we compatible in this? So really looking at and asking those questions. But the trouble is, anyone who's listening to us who has been through that, you wake up in the morning and you're not well rested. You are being overreactive. You're making mistakes. You're feeling guilty. Your feet are walking backwards. That's a Turkish idiom. We say my feet are walking backwards when I want to go to work, or when I want to go to that meeting, or if my feet are walking backwards. Your feet are walking backwards. You do not want to. You're like, how is this possible? I was so passionate about this one time. So we make ourselves wrong and we bottle things up, and it comes to this point of almost explosion. But what if it didn't have to be that way? So burnout for me has been actually a journey of really discovering, beyond any label, beyond any projection and expectation from the world, really discovering what are the things that replenish me when I do them? What can I add to my life? And we are like nature. It changes every season. It changes. And I am a recovering perfectionist. I wanted things to be perfect. I wanted things to work fit into definitions and boxes, but even I don't fit into any box. So how can I expect life to show up that way. So I think our need to control things into existence is really burning us out right now. But we are, through that, I think, finding our own way to really start being with the earth. Like the earth is really calling us, saying like, hey, in your policy making, do not forget to include me on a more embodied level.
I love that kind of reconnection to yourself and your environment and the people around you. And I think that's so incredibly valuable. And I'm so glad that you're bringing attention to it. And I think we spoke a little bit to the commonality of burnout and how it's almost a cycle of walking backwards, as you say. And I'm curious from your perspective, when you're so enveloped in your work and so enveloped in whatever it may be, policy making, change making, how do you suggest to take that first step to find something that replenishes you? How do you know and how do you find it?
Oh, thank you for that question. It's so beautiful. I say start with the simplest thing. Notice your body. When you're walking on the street, notice the nature around you. Nature likes to be acknowledged so that it can create more of itself. So when we start noticing the trees more and interacting with the trees more, the trees will start talking to us. They will support us in the meetings that we go to. They will have our back. You will receive that energy. It will quiet your mind. You know, when you go to the forest or the ocean, how is your mind and your body? There's a sense of peace, right? So what I would ask everyone watching us right now, if it's fun for you, maybe write down 5 things that when you do them, could be little activities or places you go to, that when you go there or do them, give you the sense of peace and perhaps a little bit of sparkles on top of that peace, which could be joy. It could be as simple as hugging a tree, dancing, shaking your body, drinking tea, but really becoming present with your body would be the fastest way that I could recommend. And then, of course, in addition to that, I do teach some very pragmatic tools that does reset your brain, declutters your brain so that your body can actually exhale. And then when you go back into that meeting or your relationship, you actually have more clarity and calm in your body.
That's so, I want to say calming to hear, because I felt calm when you were describing that sense of peace. But I want to ask you, you mentioned how at one point in your life you were feeling super tired and exhausted and burnt out, and now you are able to tell us and everyone listening about how to find your peace. How was your journey like? How were you able to get from point A to point B?
Thank you so much. I honestly, if you had told me 10 years ago that I'd be sitting here and having this conversation really calmly, part of me would have said, I know, but I don't know how to get there. So when I was going through that whole breakdown of everything in my life, which is why the way I was functioning was not working for my body anymore, and it had to intervene. And when I looked at my life, I looked at the future I wanted to create on planet Earth for the next generations. And when I looked at my daily life, and I realized where I was putting my attention and energy wasn't actually feeding that directly. It was actually, some of my energy was feeding into a structure that was actually exploiting us on the planet. And the way I was showing up wasn't actually taking care of the earth. So for me, I had to really get clear about what really matters to me and how I would like to be nurtured. Because, you know, most women can relate to this. We love giving, we love nurturing, and we put ourselves the last on the list. So for me, when that happened, I had to really take a good look at my life, and I had a lot of emotions. I had a lot of confusion. I had a lot of stuff that came up from, you know, unresolved childhood trauma to realizing I was actually in an abusive relationship in my marriage. I had to look at all the choices that I'd made in my life and where they brought me while I was so, you know, proud of my education, my professional life, I also had to look at what's a more sustainable way. And I actually went into hiding. I actually was so ashamed that my whole identity was based on what I could deliver for other people, whether at work, professionally, or in relationships, or as a role model, as a mentor. So when I actually did not have the power to show up, and all I could do was just lie down on the couch, maybe go out for a walk by the ocean and cry, just like let that release. I was really ashamed of myself and I wanted to go hiding. I did not know who I was anymore, so I had to go to nature. And it was this mystery unfolding and me following that. So I'd like to, anyone watching us right now, you might be in that space that you know something different is possible. Maybe you have this calm. I had this calm in the middle of all the drama. And I'll say most of the drama was in my head. And I come from a very dramatic culture. You know, we love the hardship. We love the drama. If you've ever watched any Turkish soap operas. But underneath that, I had this calm voice telling me, you gotta go through this and you will guide other people to connect with themselves, but you have to go through this. So when I was losing myself, I would reconnect with that peace. And I found that peace in nature. And from there, it was finding one piece at a time. In my case, I started following the energy rather than the mind, because my mind actually gave up working. I came to a point of not being able to read one paragraph, which was blood chilling for me, as I was in academia, and how dare I not be able to read. So I had to really find a different way of navigating the world. And I call it energy, but it's this sensation, like we said, that calming, that soothing, was really generative for my body and the pain that I was experiencing. So I started making daily choices in my life that gave me more of that sensation of calm. So if someone said, check out this article or go talk to this person, and if it had that sense of peacefulness to it, rather than the that I was living with, that I was used to, I chose the one that gave me more peace. And that kind of was this epic journey in a very mundane way. And then I went to counseling. I used so many different tools. I tried everything. And one of the tools that I connected with was called Access Bars, a light touch technique on the head that dissolves the thoughts and emotions so your body can relax. And the way I found that was really following this energy, like what has the energy of the forest for me. And when I found that tool, this really pragmatic tool, and I received a session, it gave me a sense of being in the forest, except I wasn't going there to hide from the world. And I realized if I can bring this more to my life, there's our chance to be as calm and clear as we are in the forest, but we could be in the boardroom. We could be sleepless at night with a child, we could be anywhere and we can bring that calm and clarity.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your story. But I'm really wondering, you talk a lot about choosing peace, right? Like making these little choices in your day-to-day life to bring you peace, choosing the actions that make you feel calm instead of cluttered. How can you intentionally choose peace in your life when you're so used to the chaos?
In my case, I think I pushed myself to a point where it was a choice between living and not living anymore. My physician, an incredible woman, she looked at me and she said, when I was crying, they weren't able to diagnose what was happening with me. And she said, look. And I was crying, like, how could this be happening to me? I'm only 29. And she's trying to soothe me. And then she gave me this really firm talk, really caring talk. She said, you have a chance here. I don't know what this is, but type A personality women like you who are really kind and caring have been going through this. And damn it, I'm not going to lose another patient to whatever this is. So you better pull yourself together. You might be the one who finds something that actually works. And 10 years from now, you might be the one teaching that in the world. So gather yourself round. Don't cry if you need to, but you know you have a choice. And then I asked, like, I'm not the only one going through this. She's like, no. She's like, whatever this is, I'm losing a lot of women and I'm not going to let another woman die. And that really brought me to like my senses. So for me, it was was really actually physically hurting my body. So I was kind of forced. But watching us, or you ladies, it's really more about connecting with your purpose. You may not define it, but us having this conversation here and anyone watching us, if you know something different is possible on the planet, even though you cannot put your finger on it, or not know how we will get there linearly, because nothing is really linear, then you got to look at, like, we want you alive and thriving 10 years from now, 50 years from now. Look at that. If you're a giver, sometimes you need to manipulate yourself into looking at, okay, if I'm not here, who's going to continue to work? I am still so young. What if I take care of this body that is hosting me on this planet? And what if I get to actually also enjoy and thrive? So it's really a choice. And I can't say that I always choose peace. You know, I told you I come from a very dramatic culture. Sometimes it's nice to be like, I cannot believe this is happening to me, you know? Have fun with that too. It's not about perfection. I tell my clients a lot of the times when they're going into the drama and the depression, I tell them, I have a theater background. I tell them, like, now expand that 100 times, exaggerated. Give me more of that, you know? Give me more of that trauma. Give me more of that. I can't believe my boyfriend texted. Like, give me more of that. Nobody can resist. Like, in 30 seconds, usually in 10 seconds, you start laughing. When you actually allow yourself to indulge in, like, am I binging on food? How about I binge on it kind of like this? You know, how about I eat even more rather than judging myself? I can't believe I'm doing that. It's just like, do a little more of it, more passion. And then you open that space of, cool, okay, what am I going to choose next? Maybe I'll take a bath. Maybe I'll call my best friend. Maybe I'll eat more of those cookies. Who knows? You know, it's all okay.
Thank you so much for sharing that mindset shift, Nihan. I feel that listening to you speak about it itself is freeing. Now I want to eat cookies. And I think also being a theater kid myself, I definitely connect to that kind of piece of freeing through nature, but also through you know, being a little bit dramatic sometimes. So I definitely appreciate that, and hearing your story is so inspiring. And I'm wondering, for the girls listening, is there any other pieces of advice from your insights that you would want to give to them, that you would want them to carry along their journey?
Let's start by acknowledging all of the girls, including you, all the ladies watching. Thank you for being on the planet. I'd like to acknowledge it's not an easy thing to be a young girl, a young woman in the world today. I'm actually very grateful that I am from a previous generation. Growing up, things were a lot easier for my generation. We didn't have to deal with the complexities that girls today deal with. And just want to, like, give you all a hug and pat you on the shoulder and say, like, you're doing great, actually. Everybody's criticizing the new generation, and I'm like, no, give them a break. I am so inspired by the new generation. So I'd say all of you give yourselves more credit, because you deserve it. You really are bringing an energy to the planet that is needed, and you really are dealing with a lot. So acknowledging that. And then the other thing that I'd say is, you are brilliant, and the only thing that stops us is that self-judgment. When you do not have self-judgment, whoever judges you will not have a hold on you. And ladies, I am 39 and I'm only discovering this now. I have lived my whole life with a lot of self-judgment. But if you can actually allow yourself those moments of allowance, like we said, like, oh, I'm being dramatic right now. How about I be a little bit more? rather than trying to fix yourself, because guess what? There's actually nothing wrong with you. It's the structures we have created that aren't working on the planet right now. And then that is reflecting on each of us. Do you know something different is possible? So rather than, I'd say, criticizing yourself and comparing yourself, this is what I would tell my younger self. Look for what's good and beautiful about you. You're not a project to be something to be fixed or changed. You're more like a beautiful plant. Like, ooh, I wonder, like, what does this beautiful plant require? You know, each plant is so unique. What do they require? And look at the forest. What do the trees require? Oh, they require to set down their roots, and the roots are always looking for more nutrition. So I would say, what feeds you, what nurtures you, add more of that to your life. I mean, you'll get to discover. I'm always discovering new things myself in terms of like, wait a minute, what's nurturing to me? Who are the people who are nurturing to me? The world is a noisy place. And if you can surround yourself with people and things and places that nurture you, whatever that is for you, then it won't be such a lonely place. And you actually, your gifts will evolve. And if I may say one last thing, I'd say, you know how people say life is too short, but also life is too long. Life is too long to be miserable. Life is too long to hold your breath and trying to make yourself perfect. So explore what gives you joy, and then there'll always be more things. Like, you don't have to commit to one thing. I'd say explore all the things. What's next? What's next? And I don't, does your generation worry about trying to describe yourself, like put yourself into one title? Like, I don't know if that's relevant to younger people right now. Is it relevant?
Yeah.
It's still relevant? Oh my goodness. It's just because it's so hard. How can you define yourself into one profile bio? You're more than that. Those are just tools of expressing ourselves, but you are more than that. And I'd love to hear from you. If how are things? How are you? How are you?
Like, I just went through a whole therapy session with this podcast episode. Isabella, would you say the same?
Nihan, goosebumps. I know I'm going to be re-listening to this episode later, and I think when you said, you know, surround yourself with people and things that nurture you, I immediately thought of Maggie in this podcast, and I think every woman that we've had here are people who are nurturing us, and also the girls listening.
And you know what? I had the exact same thought, so that's really scary, but also really cool. But yes, like, I think your insights are very nuanced in a lot of ways, because a lot of the advice we hear as girls who are going through, like, people call us the anxious generation, right? A lot of young girls were always just told, just be calm, which is a lot easier said than done, right? So hearing your advice coming from a background of it's hard to be calm, and sometimes you can let yourself not be, and that's okay too. I think it's really important for a lot of young girls to hear.
Absolutely. If you're, you know, I used to have anxiety attacks, and one of the things I learned, the more you try to stop the anxiety attack, the more it will have its way with you. And then I was watching a documentary, and I saw the cheetahs, when they go through something that's really harsh for their body, rather than keeping it in, they shake it, you know? And that's how I started incorporating more dance into my life about, again, 10 years ago. So really allowing your body to move and shake that off. And may I share one tool that's been really a game changer for me when it comes to anxiety and depression? So I'm a very sensitive person. They used to call me, like, I mean, they still do, weird and sensitive one. Like, why are you like a sponge? But there's truth to that. All of us who are sensitive, we are so aware. And this is something science will catch up with, but we are so aware. We perceive everybody's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, even body sensations. Some of some of us are extra sensitive, and that's an evolutionary thing, you know, that happens in any species. Some of them are more aware, and that is needed for the survival and the thriving of the species. So what happens is, because we have this ability to sense and perceive things, but we perceive them so intimately, we think it's ours. So a question you can ask, even though you might have lived with that anxiety your whole life, a question you could ask is this mine? And who does this belong to? And if it gives you a moment of lightness when you ask this question, even though your mind says, of course it's ours, come on. If it gives you any lightness, then just play this game of, okay, I'm going to return this to sender, and then I'm going to expand and take up more space. That is one advice I'd give all of us. Take up more space. And space beyond your body too, like fill the entire room, go beyond it. This is our planet. We're here to create a new world, so fill it. But it's not a wrongness, the anxiety. The world is filled with anxiety, and you just might be sensing it. And then, of course, we all have reasons we can attach, oh, I'm anxious because of this, because of that. But one day, years after I stopped having anxiety attacks, and I was like, you know, happy as I am. And one morning I woke up, I was having this incredible panic attack, and my joints were hurting again like it used to back in the day. And I thought, oh my God, I thought I was healed, but I am not. And I'm out there teaching these tools, but maybe I'm an imposter. It was Monday morning, and I thought, oh no, I need to send that report. I'm late for work, and I need to get the kids ready. I can't believe they're still sleeping. And then I stopped for a moment, and I thought, I don't have kids. I don't have kids, ladies. Like this thought in my head of like, and then I thought, hold a minute, what reports? I don't have a 9-to-5 job where I write reports. And I stopped, and I thought, am I going crazy on top of everything? What just happened? And then I started asking, like, who does this belong to? Is this mine? And it started lightening up. I stopped shaking with anxiety. Those crazy thoughts of I need to get the kids ready for school, that left my body. And I thought, well, I was just, I don't know, I'm a creative person. Like, I came up with that somehow. A week later, I'm walking by my neighbor's home, the house next door. And I ask my neighbor, I ask her, like, Neva, how are you? And we always do small talk. Instead of small talk, Neva that day decides to say, like, Nihan, I'm actually really struggling. I'm like, oh, tell me more. She goes, I have anxiety attacks. I have pain in my joints. And last Monday, I lost myself. The kids were still sleeping. They were late for school. And I had this report I had to finish. And I had this full-on panic attack. And I couldn't go to work. I had to call in sick. And I thought, that was you? I knew it was suspicious, me thinking that I need to send the kids to school. So, but if I hadn't lived this, I wouldn't have known like how strongly we actually perceive things, especially as women, especially when it belongs to other women. So that was a very cool story for me. That made me realize, like, oh my God, I actually do have these capacities, but I'm using them against me. So these days, like, I'm on campus right now and it's exam time. Every morning or in the middle of the night, I wake up and I'm like, I need to study. And then I'm like, no, that's not mine. I don't have any exams myself.
That's ours.
But I perceive it. I really perceive it right now. It's in the air. So, and it's not wrong as long as we realize, like, it's in the air right now. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that makes so much sense because, yeah, no, I think we can all relate to sometimes you just feel a random bit of anxiety and you're just like, why? So a lot of things like that I appreciate you voicing because I'm sure a lot of our viewers didn't know this was an experience a lot of people might have. I think that relates to a lot of the things you covered in this episode too, and we're just wondering if you have just any last bits of advice or anything you want to say to our viewers, just if you could leave them with anything.
I'd say you always know what's true for you. It's just that there's so much noise and we have so many expectations and commitments that are projected upon us that we would like to be and do in the world that sometimes we're not able to reconcile. what we truly know deep inside, and what we decided how things should show up. So we go into this place of stuckness. So I would say, once again, end with the same note. Like, what are the things that light you up? Because it's finally our time on the planet to create something different, because the world is calling for it, the planet itself and the people. So I say, like, we're just getting started. You're not late. We're just getting started. So, and it will be a long journey. So why not add more things to your life that actually give you more calm, more joy, more enjoyment? And if there's going to be drama, enjoy that too, you know?
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and your insights with us today, Nihan. There's so much to take away and unpack in this episode, and I'm just so grateful to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so honored and grateful to have this conversation. Thank you for having me.